Tell me your name and what do you drive?
Oh, my name's John. This is my 91 Acura NSX. It's a US model, not a Japanese model, so left-hand drive, not right-hand drive. I've had the car about going on 5.5 years now. One of the best cars I've ever driven, let alone owned. But as far as most people are just buying them for investments now, which I find kind of sad because I really like to drive it. I probably put more mileage on it in a year than most people do since they bought them. But there's a lot of like unique things about the car. Sometimes people don't even get to see them because they're so rare these days. I mean, there's only 9,000 ever built, so now you're lucky if you even see one at a car show, let alone going down the road. I get kind of tired of seeing them in videos where they get crashed and some lady in an SUV just doesn't see one at a traffic light and drives over the front of it or something. But there's not many of them left. It's kind of the dinosaur of the car world, the sports car world. But we're going to show you a few interesting things in the car that most people don't know. So we'll take it a step at a time.
Tell me about how did you acquire the car?
I had a R33 GTR for about 2 years. It was a limited edition one. It was midnight purple. They didn't make many of them. And I made a deal with myself, since I've wanted an NSX since I was a little kid, that if I ever sold the car, if somebody ever offered me the right money, I was going to buy one. And I was going to get off my ass and actually buy the car I've always wanted. The car sold, and it was a process to get the car sold, and the guy was far away, and long story, but I had found this car online on Craigslist, believe it or not, in San Francisco, and I looked at it, but I didn't want to bother the guy about the car until I had all my money sorted out. So I waited, and the day the deal was done and I knew the money was coming, I went to look at the ad again, and it was gone. And I was like losing my mind. I was like, oh God, it had half the work that I was going to do to the car already was already done with the exact parts I was going to use. It was halfway there, and it was gone. So it took about 3 days for the cashier's check to get to me from the buyer, and the day the check showed up, I went back on Craigslist to start looking for another car, and it was back. And I called the guy and I said, look, I don't even want to haggle you. I don't want to play games with price. Give me the VIN number. I want to run this car, make sure it hasn't been in any accidents, and make sure that it's what the car I want, and I'm gonna buy it. And he was like, okay. I said, what happened? Why did it go off? He says, somebody sent me $1,000 deposit and disappeared for like 2 weeks, and I couldn't get a hold of the guy, and I'm still trying to get a hold of the guy. So he says, his loss is your gain. So I ran the numbers, and I ran Carfax, and the car was clean, and I ran it through Acura, and I was literally going to cover an auto show at the time in Detroit, and one of my friends was like, okay, I'll drive up from Los Angeles and look at the car for you. So I actually wound up buying the car without ever having driven it. My friend drove up to LA, to San Francisco, drove it, got on the phone with me, like, you got to buy this car right now, it's perfect. The guy's really OCD. The paint's in great shape. It's black with great paint. It's unheard of. So I wired him the money right then, and the car, we went through some hassles with the shipping company, but we got the car a couple of weeks later. And then everything on the car has been an upgrade. Like, I've never had to fix anything on this car. Nothing is ever broken. I mean, you got to do maintenance and stuff, but it doesn't break. I mean, it's probably the most reliable supercar you'll ever own. But, and now the funny part is, believe it or not, I bought it for $30,000 when I bought it, and now it's probably worth close to $70,000. And I've had people offer me full boat retail for the car, and I won't sell it. Because I think when you find the car you want, it's not worth it to go through that search again.
Tell me about an experience with the car.
I think probably the fun part of owning it is people don't know what it is. I mean, it's been... It was a very well-known car through the 90s, but now everybody's like, oh, is that a Lamborghini? Is that a Ferrari? And I'm like, no, it doesn't break down like those cars do. But we go on a lot of cruises with it. We go out with a lot of other exotic cars. You'd be amazed by how many people that own $100,000 cars or extremely expensive rare cars, and they don't drive half as fast as we do in this thing. But it's always fun to get out and use it. I don't want it to ever be kind of a museum piece, you know. Everything on it is built to be driven hard. I mean, it doesn't ever go out and have a nice day to the mall, you know, stuff like that. We've taken it shopping as a joke, and that was about it. But it's a functional, you know, high performance street car. Everybody always asks me if I've ever taken on the track, and I haven't. And I'd love an opportunity to do it. Hopefully sometime this year we'll still get to do it. A bunch of R35 friends of mine are constantly trying to get me to go out on a track day, so that'll probably happen.
Tell me about some of the modifications done to the car.
Well, I mean, we could walk around and I could show you in detail. It'd be a lot easier.
Okay. All right, so now we're going to go over the modifications on the NSX.
Yeah, so, don't mind the dog. Yeah, she's Japanese like the car. There's a company in Japan that used to race NSXs called Real Time Racing. This is one of 4 of their hoods that they had custom made specifically for their race cars. When we got it, we painted it and put it on the car, but after driving it a couple of times, the paint actually started cracking because it's built for racing. It's not built to look good. So you get a lot of flecks and stuff like that, so it gets stress cracks. So we took it back off, sent it out, and had it completely reinforced and put back on the car after we painted it. I mean, the car has an upgraded audio system. Most of the radios that were in these were horrible. Every speaker had its own amplifier, so half the time the speakers didn't work. So we had a shop here in Orlando called the Garage Orlando come in and put a full audio system in it. They had the car for days and days and days, and they did an amazing job. They had the whole car apart. They did the alarm system. They did all the carbon fiber accessories, because the door pieces and everything that's dry carbon in it now was originally, believe it or not, wood grain, because in the 90s people thought wood grain looked good. So taking it off, the plastic kind of looked like hell, so we just sanded it all down and redid it in dry carbon. The interior of the car is all original, other than, like I said, the audio system. There's actually a 10-inch subwoofer mounted underneath the passenger side floor well. So the sound system sounds amazing in this car. You also have a very small cockpit, so it's about the size of a telephone booth, so you don't have to put a lot of power into it. The car weighs about 2,700 pounds with gas and me in it. So it's 300 horsepower at the wheels without the additional power adders, which I'll show you in a little bit. But to find one of these early cars, this is a 91, so this is first year US production. To find a nice one with good mileage, and it's never been in an accident. I mean, the key with these cars is to find one that's never been in an accident, because the whole car is aluminum. Everything's aluminum except the hood is now fiberglass. But if it gets in an accident, they're really difficult to fix. If you can even fix them. The problem is not even the repair. The problem is that no one wants one once it's been in an accident. But we did a bunch of stuff. It's got Comtech headers, Comtech catalytic converter deletes. The exhaust is a Pride performance piece. They're hand built. They're beautiful pieces of art. If you look at the exhaust, you almost want to hang it on the wall of your house. It's amazing. But a lot of the stuff like the air boxes and stuff like that, the stock stuff is best. We have 100 shot of nitrous in the car. The car doesn't care. I mean, it doesn't have a problem with it at all. Forged pistons and titanium rods are from the factory, so you don't even really need to modify the motor. We did do a clutch, Science of Speed clutch. They don't even make the original clutches anymore, so we did that with a light and flywheel. Enki was nice enough to do the wheels for us. We custom powder coated them in blue. That's the stock brakes with hawk pads and drilled and slotted rotors. The wing was an add-on. We customized it. If you have carbon fiber in Florida and you don't re-clear it, it's going to go bad on you. So we customized and re-cleared it. We did a complete badge delete, so it doesn't say, anything anywhere. Normally it would say Acura here. There would be a badge on the hood. All that's gone. We put LED lighting in the engine bay so that we can show it off at car shows and stuff like that. But the crazy thing about it is it's really just so reliable. You just get in it and go. I mean, you could jump in this car and drive 3.5 hours and not even worry about it. A lot of people ask me if the engine's back here, what's in the front? Normally just a spare tire and your battery. It's kind of dusty in here today. But we added, like I said, we put a nitrous system in it, so that was the best location to put it. Plus it puts the weight of the nitrous bottle in the front of the car where it's going to help you, not hurt you. But I mean, it's a classic sports car. It just doesn't really need anything more. Yeah, I've seen guys supercharge them. A friend of mine is supercharging his right now. They supercharge them, they turbocharge them. A supercharger is $10,000 minimum to put a supercharger in this car, and you get about 80 horsepower when you're done. And it adds weight to the car. You put a nitrous system on it, you get 100 horsepower, and it adds 30 pounds to the car. So it's all a matter of preference. But if you have an opportunity to go buy one of these cars, you should definitely snatch it up because it's pretty amazing. The other thing people always ask me is about the racing steering wheel. Everybody asks me why I get a quick release. It's just easier to get in and out of the car. But we added a lot of stuff to the car. With the wing, it's a little harder to see out of the back of it, so we put a backup camera in it. You can see my dog running in front of it. But that switches over to an engine diagnostics computer. But they're pretty crazy. I mean, it's not a quiet car. But as you can see, it's a lot easier to get in and out of with the wheel off. That's basically it. You ever have an opportunity to buy one, you should buy one. They're doing nothing but go up in value, and I've had a lot of people ask me to try and help them find one, and they're getting real difficult to find. A lot of them have been in accidents. A lot of them, I think my numbers might be wrong, but like 20% of these cars were automatic transmission. So nobody wants an automatic one. And it's not cheap to buy one auto and change it. That's pretty much it.
With that being said, I'd like to thank you, John, for letting us know about your NSX. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. Thank you.